people are Muslims, almost 100%. So they are following Islam. And something that's kind of interesting about Pakistan is that it has a lot of different landscapes. Like the US, we have a lot of different types of land. They have mountains, cities, plains, deserts, seas, lakes. So to the picture, you can see that they have a lake and a mountain and some like flat land too. So that's something very interesting. And then a little bit about the history. So Pakistan's history is very old. It was originally part of India, and the people of the Indus Valley Civilization actually settled there about 9,000 years ago, and that's one of the oldest civilizations that we know of humankind. And so in 1947, Great Britain actually split India and Pakistan into two when India got its independence, and it split into West Pakistan, India, and East Pakistan. And then like 2 decades later, East and West Pakistan had like a civil war, and East Pakistan gained its independence and is now known as Bangladesh. So what I'm going to be talking to you today is about West Pakistan, and that's the flag of Pakistan on the right. Okay, so now that you know a little bit about it, what kind of landmarks do you think would be important to its people? Maybe buildings, natural wonders, or historical monuments. If anyone has any ideas, let your teacher know and write it in the chat.
Religious is one.
Mm-hmm.
Historical monuments. Monuments or memorials.
Yeah, those are all very important. So we're going to start off with the religious landmarks. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the mosques in Pakistan. Mosques are very important because this is the place of worship for Muslims. And a lot of the landmarks that are famous there happen to be mosques. So on the left is Badshahi Mosque, which is one of the most famous landmarks in Pakistan, and is located in Lahore, which is a very big city and is actually where my family is from. And on the right is Faisal Mosque, which is the largest mosque in Pakistan, and it's located in Islamabad, which is the capital. And it was constructed almost sometime in the past century, so it's not very old. But the mosque on the left was constructed during the Mughal Empire, so that was about the 17th century, so it's quite old. A lot of the mosques were actually constructed during that time period. Like this mosque as well, which is the Wazir Khan Mosque. So as you can see on the inside, it's very decorative, and the calligraphy is very beautiful. So that's something that's very important to even Muslim architecture, is calligraphy and the nice like writing. They don't really have many pictures there, but yes, this is also located in Lahore, as the other mosque was. And those little like towers are called minarets, and those are to call people to prayer, which Muslims do about 5 times a day. So now I'm going to talk about some of the historical landmarks in Pakistan. So on the left, you have Lahore Fort, and this was built also in the Mughal Empire. So it has very similar architectural design to a lot of places in India, like the Taj Mahal, which was also built by a Mughal emperor for his wife. And so on the right is Sheesh Mahal, which means the Palace of Mirrors. These are both located in Lahore. And the one on the right was built by the Mughal emperor for his wife Shah Jahan, like a lot of the places were. And on the left was constructed as a fort of defense to keep enemies away. And then these are some more recent landmarks. So to the left, you have the Pakistan Monument in the capital. And this kind of commemorates all the people who dedicated their lives to fighting for its independence, similar to the monuments that we have in DC, if any of you have been there. And then to the right, we have the Minar-e-Pakistan, which was constructed in about mid-1900s as a sign of them passing the first resolution to become an independent state for Muslims. And another historical landmark, this is the Jinnah Mausoleum in Karachi, which is another big city. And this is the final tombstone of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the first leader of Pakistan, and he kind of led them to independence. And then we also have some natural landmarks. So like I said, Pakistan has a very wide landscape. So right here you can see this is very barren and dry. And this is Mohenjo-Daro, which was constructed in 2500 BC. So this is a very old part of the Indus River Valley civilization that I told you about earlier. And it's a very ancient site that's very important to its people. And a lot of tourists do come here. And then here are some more natural landmarks. So I'm sure some of you have heard about the one on the left. So this is K2 Mountain in the Himalayas. So that's in the same range as Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain. And this mountain is actually the second highest in the world. So that's a pretty big landmark for Pakistan, and a lot of tourists do come here to try to climb the mountain or just to see it. And then on the right, you have Lake Saiful Muluk, which is in the northern area of Pakistan. So as you can see, they're very different. There's more like glaciers on the left, and then really nice green valleys and lakes on the right. So it definitely has a very wide landscape. So now I have some questions. So we're going to start off pretty simple. So which of these landmarks, or what type of landmark, would you guys want to visit? And just write it in the chat and tell your teacher.
I think. The mosques.
The mosques?
K2.
Yeah, me too.
Mosques, the mirrors. Las montañas, we have Spanish. The mountains. Historical monuments. Mm-hmm. Some of the students are taking turns writing in the chat.
When I went, I didn't actually get to go to any of the northern areas because they're pretty far from where I was staying. But next time I go, I definitely want to see all the mountains and K2. I did get to go to some of the historical landmarks though, so that was pretty cool, and some of the mosques. So how do you think that these landmarks compare to the US landmarks that you guys know about? Think about the White House, the Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty. So how do these compare?
You can tell. I can write it in the chat.
Oh, and you can write it in the chat.
We have the ones in Pakistan are more natural, so I think there's more natural ones. Grade 6, they're different because of the different cultures in the separate countries. Mm-hmm. Lots of religious influence in the monuments. They have more religious monuments than we have, and we have more historical monuments. Mm-hmm. In DC, we have memorials to founding fathers and great leaders. Our churches aren't as fancy.
Yeah, those are some really great observations. I definitely think that the US has more historical monuments just because we have a longer history. Pakistan is very new. It only gained independence in 1947, so they do not have as many historical landmarks. But I agree there's a lot of natural landmarks, and definitely difference based on culture and religion. Yeah, so I guess this is a more advanced question, but if anyone thinks that they could have an answer, what do you think is important to the people of Pakistan based on these landmarks? Like what kind of values or beliefs do you think are important to them?
We have a high school that said religious beliefs, religion. Yeah, a lot of high schools are putting religion.
Yeah, definitely.
Prayer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, religion is very important in Pakistan, and a lot of the landmarks show that. A lot of these mosques are usually for special occasions, but there are so many, just if you go anywhere, you'll see a mosque, so it's definitely very important to people.
We have a couple that also said history and independence.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that as their history was very based on getting independence from India for Muslims, they definitely have a lot of pride in that shows in their historical landmarks.
Remembrance of important people in history and religious leaders, the stained glass in the mosques, the stained glass in the marble, they noticed.
Yeah, wow, those are really great observations. I definitely agree. Those are all important. I think that those are kind of common throughout a lot of societies, that those kinds of landmarks are important. So now I'm going to pass it off to Karen.